I was teaching a Sunday school class to little children, and there was a boy who was about 3 to 4 years old, and he was just being aggressive to all the other children in the class. He would get angry if he wasn't the one that got to answer the question. He would push the other children. He would take toys at playtime from the other kids. And he was just generally unkind to his classmates. I asked his mom if she knew why he might be feeling so aggressive toward the other children, why he would be acting like that maybe, and she said that she didn't know, but she had noticed that he had developed this habit, and she really didn't know what to do about it. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I told her and what worked great. Just like with many behaviors, aggression, when it's not addressed immediately, can become a habit. And it is normal for children to kind of have some aggression here and there when they're little because they don't know how to handle different situations. But that's the perfect time to teach them how to handle their emotions more appropriately. Some of the reasons for a child being aggressive can be more serious, like abuse at home or some other kind of abuse, or maybe neglect, parental neglect. But I was assured that that was not the problem with this little boy. He was in a home that had attentive and loving parents. There are some reasons that children tend to be aggressive, just like there are for adults. Sometimes maybe they're angry or frustrated, or maybe they're hungry or tired. These are reasons that they may feel aggressive. But as I've stated in my videos, my other videos, and my book, How to Train Your Child to Behave, there are reasons, but reasons are not excuses. So here are some things that you can do to help your child overcome the habit of aggressive behavior. Number 1, do not make excuses for their behavior. If your child is being aggressive in public, maybe at church or at school or something like that, and they hear you say something like, well, he's just tired, or it's about lunchtime and that's why he's behaving like that. This will make your child believe that he has an excuse for that behavior. He is going to feel like this is acceptable when he feels those ways. When he's tired, it's okay for him to be aggressive. When he's hungry, when he's frustrated, because his parent is saying, well, that's the reason. You don't want to put that thought in the mind of your child. You don't want them to feel that they are entitled to behave aggressively if they have those feelings going on. So instead of saying something like that or giving that reason, and it sounds like an excuse to your child, instead say something like, I'm sorry for his behavior. We're working on that. When you say something like that, the child recognizes that wasn't okay what he did, and he sees that you're going to be doing something about it. He understands that something's going to happen to take care of the fact that he was behaving that way. In other words, he's going to know something's going to need to change. Number 2, give them time to think. Time out. When a small child is acting out aggressively, usually by the time you come into the picture, they're feeling pretty upset and they're going to need time to calm down. Let them know that if they are aggressive in any way, if they're hitting or kicking or pushing or biting or anything like that, the immediate thing will be that they'll have to sit out of the activity. Let them know that no matter what, if that goes on, they are immediately going to sit out. This does 2 things. It lets them know that the behavior was unacceptable, and it also gives them time to calm down so they'll be able to listen. Tell them they can come to you when they feel calm, or you might go to them in a minute or 2. So have a place for them to sit by themselves out of the way. There is more about this on a video on this channel entitled What's Wrong with TIMEOUT, which I will put a link at the top of the screen here and another in the description below. Number 3, give them an opportunity to explain. Once they have calmed down, it's important to ask a question to give them the opportunity to let you know what was going on. Maybe the other child hit them first. Maybe somebody grabbed a toy away from them and they didn't know what to do about it. Whatever the case may be, give the child a chance to explain first. They need to know that you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, that you're ready to listen, so that you can continually build that relationship of trust. Number 4, tell them the behavior was not acceptable regardless of the reason. When a small child is being aggressive, this is never appropriate. In older children, this may be different depending on the circumstances. In video number 3 in the series I have on this channel about bullying, you'll see an example of that, when it would be appropriate at one moment or another for an older child to possibly be aggressive. But in this video, we're talking about small children. There is no reason for a small child to need to be physically aggressive. If they're being appropriately supervised the way they should, there's going to be an adult nearby that can take care of the situation. so they should never have to be aggressive. So after they have a moment to explain what happened, let them know that aggression is not the answer and that that behavior is not acceptable. Number 5, now this is the moment when teaching how to behave comes in play. Right now you're telling them that the aggressive behavior is not acceptable, and now you can give them an alternative about what is acceptable, what they need to do instead, how to behave. So you tell them, what do you want them to do under similar circumstances, so they'll understand what to do the next time. For example, if someone else hit them, you might want to say, you need to ask that person not to hit you again, and then if they continue to do that, you need to go to the adult that's supervising, either me or whoever the caretaker is, and let them know that this is happening and you've already asked the other person not to do that anymore. If someone took their toy, for instance, you could say what you could do is you could ask for the toy back. You could get another toy and try to trade with them so that there's no problem going on about that. And if that doesn't work, you can again go to the caretaker and let them know this has happened and you want to know what to do about it. Whatever the problem is, give the child an example of what they could have done instead. Number 6, have them repeat role play. Once you've had this short conversation, ask the question and role play with them. For instance, now what do you do if you win a toy and someone else has it? Let them tell you in their little child language what you just told them, what the instructions were, so they're able to repeat that back to you. Then if you have time at that moment, go ahead and role play. Have them tell them that you have a toy they want and what do they do if they want it, and have them ask or do whatever it is. Role play out the situation. If you don't have time right then, be sure and try to do that later, because role playing and pretending in order for them to practice that good behavior instead of the aggression is really important to help solidify that lesson in their mind. Number 7, make sure the child takes responsibility. If your child has been aggressive towards someone, make sure that they go to that person and ask for forgiveness. They need to say they're sorry and they need to reconcile with that other person. Sometimes if they've actually hurt another child, they really need to see the consequences of their actions. In other words, they need to see the pain on that other child's face, and that will depend on the child and the circumstances, of course. But if your child is hitting or kicking or biting another child to the point of really hurting someone else, I want to suggest that you click on the screen now to see an even more specific plan to help your child take in the responsibility for hurting others. Thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe. Parents, if you're struggling, something needs to change, and you can do this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you here next week.